These are the vehicle-specific instructions for the 2010 to 2013 4runner JBL. So for this one, your stock deck has to have the JBL audio system with the navigation screen, and your backup camera is in the dash, not in the rear view. That's a different set of stuff, and you won't have the same wiring, and you won't actually have any of the video wiring inside here if you do not have the backup camera that's right in the dash for this model. Okay, so the only difference between wiring the 2014 and the 2010 to 2013 JBL is there's an additional brown wire that has a pin on it. Okay, so your harness won't look like this one. This is the anytime backup camera, so it allows me to activate the backup camera whenever I want. But you'll have this gray switch that has 4 wires in it, and it's a 5-pin connector. So you want to make sure that brown wire plugs into the pin with this red wire. Okay, that's the activation wire. So what happens is when you put your vehicle into reverse, it applies 12 volts to this wire, and that's what sets the unit and tells it to click in and activate the backup camera. The video is on a different harness. So on the main harness here, there's 3 plugs that will plug in. So you'll have like 5 or 6 plugs on your harness. I don't have the same harness you do. Mine's a custom harness, but the connectors are going to be the same. So you have 3 connectors that are going to be plugged in. Okay, one, this is the video for your backup camera. So it's 2 power wires and 2 video signal wires. Okay, that is in the harness. So you want to follow that to the RCA. Okay, that's the RCA connector you use to plug into the other connector that plugs into the T10 or T9 unit. Okay, there's a second harness that has a second RCA. Obviously, you're not going to plug in the RCA into the blank one that's not plugged in anything, because you're not going to get a video signal. Okay, the second one is your main power harness, so all the power to the T10 unit or T9 and the speakers and everything is on this. So you actually only need this one connector for the actual unit to work, and it'll do audio and everything like that. You just won't have backup camera or steering. So if you have like your own custom setup, or you want to add it to your vehicle that doesn't actually have this, you can manually wire everything. That's why I have all these taps here, because I had one of the original T9 units when they were not making the harness for this vehicle. So I custom wired everything myself and figured it out over the course of a little bit, and got everything to work. So the second one, or this third one here, is the steering wheel controls. So what it actually hooks into is the key 1 and 2 on the unit. The steering controls is kind of weird. It's based off of resistance for the vehicle. So all those buttons that you press don't actually generate different signals on different wires. It changes the resistance, and that's what the unit picks up on, and what you'll use to program in the next little bit once I have the unit plugged in. So your main 3, and you plug in the brown wire into that red pin on the other side here. You can secure it with the electrical tape like I did for the connector here. I'm just trying to get this off. Okay, now everything's plugged back into the unit. So you should have the same connectors, the antenna over there, you got the GPS, you got your 4G, and you got your bunch of connectors here. So the top right one you see is the backup camera video. The next 2 down from that are the USB, and then this one with the 2 blue wires, you may or may not have that with the new harness. I'm not sure if they've removed that or not. That's not really for me. When that's removed, I don't have my JBL audio for the other speakers, but I think they may have changed the wiring. Like I said, mine is custom harness. I have everything working on mine. They switched some stuff on the new one. I do not have that harness. So you may or may not have that blue wire. It's not important as long as your audio works. So yeah, and then you got your main one that has everything else in there, and the main power harness that has everything, so you connect all that stuff. And let's just put all this in. Okay, so ignore the error message. I don't use this launcher screen, I use something else, but I change it to this for the ease of understanding. So when you're at your boot screen here, you swipe up, you access your apps. Okay, you find the steering wheel control, hit that. Okay, this programs it. So you press start, And you want to make sure the impedance is set to high. Otherwise, if it doesn't work, try switching to low. I use high on mine. It's spelled wrong there. So to start programming, after you hit the start button, okay, you press what button you want. So I'm going to program the volume up. Okay, make sure your vehicle is also running during those too, because it'll detect different resistances if you do not have it running. So it says right there, press the corresponding button on the steering wheel until it's checked off and it changes. So I am pressing the volume up button here. So press it. Oh, and look, it's changed. So now it's ready to go to the next one. So I do the same thing for all the buttons that I want to program. So I have all my volume up, down, next, pause, play, previous, answer, and reject on phone call on the buttons there. There's one extra button here, the old voice button. I haven't programmed that yet. I've used it for a Google Voice for a little bit, but I didn't really use it in the vehicle, so I just unbound it. I might switch it to something else later, I don't know what. So that's how you program the steering wheel. You just run through all that step by step, and at the end, you click on end, okay? And it'll give you the warning thing on what it's set to, blah, 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 okay? And it'll tell you change the impedance if it doesn't work properly. Mine works on high, so yours probably does as well. So once you're done that, you can just hit home. All right, this is my actual launcher that I use. It's Car Launcher. You can get all sorts of different launchers on the Play Store. Don't mess around if you're not familiar with technology. But it's highly customizable, and I just like this look better. But yeah, that's it for setting up the T10 unit. I'm going to make another video here with some of the advanced functionality that you can do with this unit if you're an Android user.